Welcome ladies and gentlemen to another video on how to build series. Today's video will be all about Rosaria. How could we build her? What's the best kind of Rosaria we can build? All those questions will be answered here. That being said, I want to ask you up front that if you like the content in this video, to leave a like, and if you happen to dislike the video, please tell me why in the comments so I can work on my flaws. If you did like the video, consider subscribing as I will upload on how to build guide for every character in the game. So without further ado, let's deep dive into the content. For Rosaria, I will go over her main role, which stats to focus on, which talents to level first, what to wear before AR 45 and what to wear after AR 45. With Rosaria's kit, she is meant to be a DPS character. She can be used as a main DPS for sure, but would also be a very viable sub DPS. The thing with her kit is that we can build her two ways to make her optimal. We can build her with her inherent cryo damage and boost that, or we can build her as physical damage, since she is a cryo user and can trigger superconduct very easily with an electro ally. Rosaria's basic attack is very fast, which is very good as a damage-dealing polearm user. Her skill is a single-use Omaewa Moshinderu style attack. Rosaria will shift behind the enemy and stab and slash with cryo damage. It only has 6-second cooldown, so it can be used very often. This is why we can build her both cryo and physical, since applying cryo can be done so quickly. Rosaria's burst is also a one-off. She swings and slashes enemies around her and summons an ice lance that strikes the ground, dealing cryo damage. It's not a high damage scale burst, so that's why I'm not thinking about a burst DPS build. It doesn't have a large cooldown though, so you can use it a lot. When she ascends, it's not cryo damage that is increased but pure attack percent, so both cryo and physical damage are viable in this case. So I am repeating myself quite a bit here, but the upcoming builds will be focused on cryo and physical. Like any main DPS, we will equip her with lots of attack and crit. With her kit, she can't be used effectively as a support since anything she does is not beneficial to another teammate. So it's only main or sub DPS. Let's start with the cryo build first, since it's the one representing her vision and you can use it without having to create a specific team comp for it. For the flower and plume, the secondaries need to be attack percent, crit rate, crit damage percent, and flat attack. For the sands, you will need attack percent. The secondaries need to be crit rate, crit damage, flat attack, and energy recharge. For the goblet, you can select cryo damage percent. The secondaries need to be attack percent, crit rate, crit damage, and flat attack. For the circlet, you will need crit rate. The secondaries need to be attack percent, crit damage percent, flat attack, and energy recharge. For 5-star weapons, the go-to weapon would be Primordial Jade Winged Spear. The rest will not really benefit her. As for the 4 stars, the Battle Pass Deathmatch would be a good choice, but a Royal Spear is also a good choice for damage dealing. These weapons are hard to come by, so you can also stick with a Halberd or a White Tassel when you have these 3-star weapons. When looking at the substats, always go from top to bottom in priority. The ones stated here are God rules, but the best in slot main stat with only the first of the secondaries is fine to start out with. Not much to say about this build, as it's a fundamental DPS build based on her inherent cryo damage. You will need to attack and consistently place yourself behind the enemy and gather your energy particles to get your burst up and slam on enemies in quick succession. This is the easier build and playstyle, but I believe that if your party allows it and you can add an Electro user that can consistently proc Electro on the enemy, the physical build can be so much better for Rosaria. Let me plead my case. The flower and plume stay exactly the same with attack percent, crit rate, crit damage, and flat attack. The sands also stays the same with attack percent. Secondaries need to be crit rate, crit damage, flat attack, and energy recharge. But for the goblet, you will select physical damage. The secondaries attack percent, critical rate, critical damage, and flat attack. The circlet also stays the same with crit rate, secondaries attack percent, crit damage, flat attack, and energy recharge. Now for the weapon. The Dragon Spine Spear is the best in slot by miles. I don't think there is one that is better. You could use the Crescent Pike, but I mean, attacking has a chance to drop an icicle which deals additional damage, and if they are affected by cryo, which they will be, they receive even more damage. And this weapon adds to physical damage as well. I mean, you see why the physical build is better? You would start off the battle with your Electro user. It can be a support Lisa or official, anything. Proc Electro on the enemy and switch to Rosaria to pop her skill. The enemy is superconducted and you can go ham on it since your physical damage will do more damage. Your attacks have chances to drop icicles to deal more damage when they are affected by cryo, so try to use your skill as much as possible to have them in the cryo state all the time. Rinse and repeat with bursts in between and she can be a goddess. She already is a goddess with those anime titties. Let's say your current main DPS is an Electro user like Razor or Kaching and their physical damage as well. You can substitute all the flat attack from Rosaria's build to energy recharge and use her as a sub DPS. If your Rosaria build is also a physical build, which is preferred, you can actively switch between your DPSs and keep Superconduct up at any given time and do damage with either DPS. Absolutely wonderful. The priority for talents are basic attack first, then skill, and then burst. You will need the extra damage on your basic attack since your main use of the skill is to proc Cryo. Leveling up the skill is an added bonus to damage and that's how you need to see it. Same goes for the burst. I mean, if the talents are 10, 1, 1, you deal massive damage with your basic attack and Superconduct. If you choose to level the skill and the burst, it's just more damage, right? A 4 set of gladiators will surely be of great benefit to Rosaria. You will gain attack and deal more damage as a polearm user. But the 2 set of gladiators and the 2 set of berserker will also do the trick for extra crit chance. If you're going for the Cryo build, you will need to wear the 2 piece of gladiators and the 2 piece of blizzard strayer for extra attack and cryo damage. When you choose the physical build, you will need 2 pieces of gladiator and 2 pieces of bloodstained chivalry, of course to increase the physical damage output. But of course, with any of the 2 builds, a 4 set of the gladiators will still be of great benefit. And there we have it, a fully and perfectly built Rosaria for all your intents and purposes. On the top right corner of the vid, you can click on the information icon to find a playlist of the character's build guides. Should the character you're looking for not be in the list at this moment, it will be in the future. So be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to get notified whenever a video drops. It can be your character by any chance. And that would be it. Leave a like if you did like the video and a dislike if you didn't. Maybe tell me why it was disliked so I can work on it if possible. Subscribe for more Genshin content coming up. This was Galaxy Bring Glitchy. Have a good one.